What does of mean in that situation is a really good question, and I like it a lot, because, like, what does of mean in any situation, you know? Because you might not realize it, but we use the word of in a bunch of different ways. Like, I can say something like, the city of Bemidji, Minnesota, or I can say, the ear of this monkey bear doll, or I could say something like, that was nice of you. And because of puts in so much work, we can probably come up with like 10 to 12 different uses of it. And a lot of it would have to do with expressing a relationship or a new idea or signifying some type of grammatical category. But even if we go through every possible use of the word of, you'll realize that we're talking more about its function than its actual content. Like, I would talk about the word of differently than I would talk about the word mouthwash, for example, right? So maybe a question that's more helpful for you isn't what does of mean, but what is the word of doing? And I think that's helpful when looking at a construction like should of. Like, instead of dismissing it and saying that it has to be have all the time, we can ask ourselves, what is of doing in this place? And we can actually use a pretty big long word here to describe what of does, and it's called a complementizer. To keep it short, a complementizer introduces a complement clause, and you can think of a complement clause as kind of like a type of subordinate clause that helps complete the idea of whatever you're trying to say. And still, we got a lot of subdivisions in that complement clause, but I'm going to focus on the infinitive, and then I'm going to bring in the past participle. The complementizer to works with infinitives. So I can say something like, she wants to drive, or she want to drive. But what would be widely seen as ungrammatical is, she want drive. And we could think of the word of as working as a past participle counterpart to that. So I could say, she should have driven, or she should have drove, but she should driven is a little bit wonky. Another example could be the infinitive for him to say that, versus a past participle for him to have said that. And to be clear, my point isn't that you're all really saying should of, or that everyone should be saying should have. It's that some are using of, others use have, and both is okay, right? Like the same purpose is being fulfilled. But yeah, that's all I got for now, but it was a hell of a video if you ask me.